Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 25, exciting number of the How to Become a Doctor video podcast. Have Mr. Bowen and I on here again. This semester, we've been going through some topics that we get a lot of questions about in advising, and we just thought it would be helpful to actually, go on the websites for these questions. And, this topic here is pre-med prerequisites and also recommended coursework, because there are some classes that maybe you don't need them to get in, but they'd be helpful to have when you actually show up. So we've got a tab on our website, as we do with this podcast, we have a tab on our website about this topic, but usually it needs to be interpreted. And so that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be going through our website and some admissions websites of some of the local regional medical dental optometry schools, and at least get you started on what classes you need to take at LSU to be eligible to start. Now, what I do want to say is it's recommended to have your Pre-Reqs completed by the time you apply, but that's not only recommended, it's required to have them done by the time you start the medical or dental optometry school. So just know, if you still got to pick up a class, your senior year or your gap year, whatever it is, to be eligible, that is okay. So, Robbie, did you want to say anything else before we got started?
No, I think that's covers it. So you want to try to get as many of them done as possible, but you do not have to have everything done the day you submit your application.
Right. So this is our pre-med website. You guys should be familiar with it. If not, honestly, the easiest way to get there would be to go to our LSU Pre-Health Instagram account. If you use Instagram, and then just click on our website right there. So it brings it to our pre-med website. And then, from here, you will be, directed to all the information we really have to share. And we're talking about course requirements today. So here we are, medical dental optometry. Every school has different pre-med prereqs, pre-dental prereqs. So what we're going to say today, this is, November 8th of 2023. It's going to change, and we know that. And so we're kind of teaching you guys how to use your websites, how to use your tools. And the most foolproof way to make sure you have a prereq done would be sending an email, first reading the website for that school, but then sending an email to the admissions office to say, hey, I've taken these classes. Will they fulfill your pre-med prereqs? You get it in writing from their admissions office. Yes, they do. You can sleep at night, when you have that. But in general, this is what's going to cover a lot of these schools. So you can see, the first year of biology, 1201, 1208, 1202, 1209, that first year of general chemistry. Sometimes you'll see this as inorganic chemistry. Same thing as Gen Chem, Chem 1201. And then at LSU, it's unique, but we do the double lab with the second class. So you do 3-hour lecture and then 3-hour lecture the next semester with, the 2-credit-hour lab. So that's going to be, 2-semester sequence there. And you move into a second 2-semester sequence for organic. So a lot of medical dental optometry will require organic. And, you go into the first organic chemistry, 2261. And then the second one, 2262, with that double lab. So it's going to be 3 hours and then 5 hours. So that's going to be your longest route typically. And then a lot of times you need biochemistry, and you can do that afterward, after you finish those organics. But we'll get to that at the bottom here. So intro bios, you need to do those ones from this 4 science majors, the intro chems and the second year chems, the physics. You're going to need to do trigonometry to even enroll in these biology and chemistries. And you'll need to complete trigonometry for the physics 2001, 2108, and then 2002. But the engineering one's fine too. So if you end up doing the 2110, 2113, it'll take that as well. And then of course, 6 hours of English for medical school. 9 hours of English for LSU dental school. So just be aware of that extra English. They can really be any topic of English, but that's the idea there. And then on top of those ones up there that are kind of the, core, you can see New Orleans, Shreveport, the dental school required biochemistry. Our recommendation is to take a 4087, or if you're a biochem major, 4093, 94. Genetics is required first to take this, but that's going to prepare you most for the MCAT. However, the one for non-majors 2083 will be accepted as the 3-hour biochemistry class as well. So just keep that in mind. And then there's just going to be some extra classes. Some med schools like Tulane have no pre-med prereqs. Some like Shreveport, we're going to go over, don't require physics. And then New Orleans requires more on top of this. They require statistics. So you could take, EXST, ISDS 2000. There's a sociology stats, psych stats. Any of those would work if stats is in the name. And then also New Orleans will take Calc 2 in place of stats as well. And then one more thing we have on here is the dental school requiring microbiology. So just that's our website, just with our flyover there. We're going to go more into other specific websites, but that gives you the idea. Robbie, any comments just on that first initial snapshot?
Right. So those general requirements of the biology, chemistry, physics, those are pretty standard at just about every medical school. They're going to have at least some combination of those courses, or maybe one semester of this or that. Those are pretty standard. But then, as Matt mentioned earlier, each individual med school may have a different requirement. There might be a requirement for developmental psychology or a bioethics course or whatever. So it's a good idea to kind of have your top 4, 5, 6 medical or dental schools that are going to be your target schools, and visit their websites, kind of make a list, kind of compiling sort of an all-inclusive list, and just making sure that you're meeting as many requirements at as many different schools as possible, to keep as many doors open during the process.
Right. So yeah, especially if you're flying out of state, there's about 5 medical schools that require calculus, for example. So just be aware of, what schools you want to go to. And as Mr. Bowen said, you need to, if one of your 20 schools you want to apply to requires a course and you want to apply to that school, you have to have it, so just keep that in mind. But, dental schools are going to want, some extra biology coursework sometimes, and we're going to go over there on their website, but there's some other bio ones. And then you're going to see that word recommended a lot of times, which we have this as well, or maybe find helpful. These are not required. So this is just going to help you. It'll look good when you apply, and it'll help you, prepare, basically anything. The best way to look at what the best courses are for whatever program is go to that program's website, look at what courses you're actually going to be taking in medical school and dental school, and see if you can take them here. And for example, you might be taking a cell bio course, you'll be taking an immunology course in medical school, taking a class on a disease, so these are going to be good ones for you, physiology, endocrinology. These are good ones to see here. So when you get over there, you can take those. Then also some non science ones could be helpful as well. Maybe not with your science GPA, but make you a better doctor. Communication, nutrition, even anatomy. Good science course. And then for the dental students, anything with your hands. That chalk carving required at LSU New Orleans. Maybe some art classes. So that's just our flyover of our website. I mean, there's a lot more there, but just to give you an idea of what we've got here. But our big thing we want to do is really teach you how to go to admissions website and really find how do I know what my specific school wants. And so we're going to go through like our closest schools, kind of draw a circle geography wise, and see what is required here. So right down the road, LSU Health New Orleans. You go to their website. You're going to see requirements, for entrance for August 2024. So if you're going to be applying in 2024, this shouldn't change because that's what they've got on here. Maybe take a screenshot, but if you go in 2025, it's could technically change. But you can see same thing as we talked about, the 16 hours of chemistry, 8 hours of physics, biochem and biology, English, stats. So no surprises on this website here, pretty similar to what we said. But once again, they've got the recommendations, to recommend in cell bio. You can take that here. They're recommending the physiology. So just keep that in mind. And you can see also they have some disclaimers, about online AP coursework grades. So you want to look at that as well. Maybe you can finish the class, but you got a D. Well, they say here you got to have a C or better. A lot of times this means C minus or better. Like here, New Orleans will take the C minus, but some schools say they won't take a C minus, and you could appeal to retake that one. So look at the grade, look at the online, right? So New Orleans is saying, hey, we'll take online. It's a new thing. They'll take online for a lecture, but they won't take an online lab. So be aware of that. Also, AP. they're saying, acceptance of AP is approved on a case by case basis. Some schools say if your college took it, or it depends on which class it is. But we'll show you how to look more into that. But that's just some disclaimers that you may have finished the class, but your grade was low, or you did the lab online. So just be aware of some of those. So this is just one of the schools. So we go right over to our next school, geography wise, right down the road from the medical school is the dental school, and the dental school, they have their admissions website, same thing, LSU New Orleans. So they're saying, hey, there's 16 hours of chemistry, same thing, 8 hours of physics. We mentioned before the 9 hours of English. So that extra English class, if you're a bio major, it's going to be built in. If you're a non-bio major, you just might have to be aware of that. The microbiology, the biochem, and then at the top, the difference is that 12 hours of bio. So you are going to need to do make sure you fulfill that as well. That's an extra requirement on top of what we'd said. But they have the recommended course as well. Physiology, virology, histology, some ones we offer at LSU. So those are our two right here. And then we go right down the road to our other. We're very fortunate to have two medical schools. And we go to our other medical school in Shreveport. And here you can see they do it a little different. They're saying, hey, they want 12 hours of biological sciences. So, just they're not saying biochemistry. It is on the MCAT, but they're not saying that. 12 hours of chemistry, but then here they're saying it includes biochemistry. So just be aware, that you need to have the biochemistry under this requirement still. So the English, humanities, which they say psychosociology can count towards, 1/3 of that. So it's 4 hours, but just be aware, maybe your foreign language, something like that. And then, Shreveport's got their recommended coursework down here as well. We offer immunology, we offer neuro, micro, cell, genetics, histology, all these in the biological sciences department at LSU. So those are some great ones there. So just, be reading there, but they say on Shreveport says only for grades during COVID-19 crisis will they accept that online. So a principal you hear from us is email the admissions office to double check if you're unsure, but read the website first. But that's obviously what it says right there. So just be aware. They talk about study abroad, do not satisfy. Need to be at the senior college level. So if you do it at a junior college, community college, if it's you may be at a competitive disadvantage. So just be reading what they say about these courses. Not just do you have the course, but are you exactly following their rules here? So it's a flyover of our LSU in-house programs. I want to bring up a couple more that are quite relevant to us. And so we'll actually switch over to optometry. Our closest optometry school driving-wise is Houston. And they have some special things out there that you got to be aware of. They do require the calculus course, so be aware of that. The physics normal, their intro chem normal, bio, and then we're going to skip this junior senior level language and just say, hey, the biochemistry pretty normal, organic. This is 4 hours of the organic, but here it ended up doing both all 8. The micro, they want statistics, they want psychology. So those are all some extra things. And then on top of that, they have this special junior senior human anatomy and/or phys, and then junior senior level human phys focused biology. Unfortunately, our human anatomy KIN 2500 is at the sophomore level here. So what you're going to be looking to take here is going to be that vertebrae physiology course, biology 4160 at LSU. That'll fulfill those 3 hours. And they want 5 more hours of upper level bio. Got to make sure you have the Pre-Reqs for it. But you can see down here, they give you some examples of these classes, cell biology, neuro, immunology, virology, endo. So, basically the plant ones don't really work. So, just make sure you're fulfilling the optometry there. So just each optometry school is different. I wanted to point out Houston because they are closest and they're pretty specific on their prerequisites. So 2 more schools we'll cover, and then we're going to hop over to some other databases. But I just wanted to highlight Arkansas. They have a new rule this year. They provide in-state tuition for every single border state. We had them speak on campus recently. So we're talking about Louisiana, we're talking about Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Mississippi, Tennessee. Any of those you're from there, you get in-state tuition now. So what are they saying? They're saying they require 3 semesters of biology, um, and include 1 full semester of genetics. So just something to be aware of there. You need the genetics uh, class for them. 3 semesters of chemistry, including biochem and organic, 2 semesters of physics, 2 semesters of English, 1 semester of stats, and 2 semesters of social sciences, which they define as anthro, psych, sociology, ethics, philosophy, religion, and theology. So that's what they have here. They also they say you can use AP and such, and they will accept online if we if it's on your transcript with a letter grade, and then they have the recommended same thing: histology, immunology, phys, cell, that kind of thing. So that's Arkansas, just to give you guys that highlight. If that genetics is a little different. And then my last specific school I'm going to cover in our state is our osteopathic med school, VCOM. So once again, they're looking for the biological sciences, they're looking for the physics, they're looking for 6 hours of chem, and then organic or biochem is what they call it. They want the English for 6 hours, and then a minimum of 9 additional biomedical science courses for us the 2000 level or above, anatomy, phys, biochemistry, micro. So you could see looking at our closest schools geographically, there's a big difference. If you apply to one school, you need calculus, another one you need genetics, another one you need 9 hours of English. So this is just an example. You may be applying to your state school back in California, or an international school. Just be aware of how this works. So we're going to move on to a few databases, but I just want to see if Mr. Bowen had any comments on these schools we just looked at.
No, but I think this is an example of why you want to make sure you go to each website of any school that you're going to fill out an application for. You want to have gone and done this because you need to know, do I meet their requirements? If not, what am I going to have to get done within this last year, most likely, in order to go there, should I get in there? And also, you don't want to go into an interview when they say, do you have any questions for us? And you're asking questions that they already covered on their website. So just be informed about the school where you're putting your eggs in the basket to go there. You just want to make sure that you've done the time, the homework, so to speak, to look at those websites.
Exactly. That's I want to highlight on the dental website. They talk about calling them, and what you should do about these questions you have. Well, they say maturity. You need maturity for LSU Dental School. One of the factors we consider is part of your personal attributes. If there are questions, please email or call yourself. Having your parent, grandparent, neighbor, it makes us question level of maturity. So encourage you guys, you reach out yourself. They're telling you, if you would have read their website, you make sure you didn't have your neighbor call because they told you not to do that. So just, a little disclaimer, make sure mom doesn't call, dad, uncle, nothing else. Call yourself. It's going to look a lot better. So that's going to be, we looked at our website for our pre-health, our phase general website. We looked at individual schools. We just want to show you some databases you can use as well to help with this, because it's a little overwhelming. But thankfully, if you're pre-medical, pre-dental, there's a way to do this a little bit easier. You want to follow up, but you have these databases. The first one you guys are probably aware of if you've seen our other podcasts is the MSAR, Medical School Admissions Requirements. This is not free. It's $30, for the year subscription. It's official data run through AAMC where you apply to medical school. But, we have it in our advising office. If you come meet with Mr. Bowen or I, we can open our account, show you this. But the nice part about this is if you're applying to a lot of schools, you don't have to go to every single website. You can at least start here. And, we can pull up, the LSU school, click on, LSU New Orleans, and, go look at their Pre-Reqs. Now, their website usually is more accurate than the MSAR because the MSAR is, still a third party compared to them. So remember, I just mentioned New Orleans just changed their rule about, online coursework. Well, here they say they're not accepting online coursework. So this actually hasn't been reflected yet of their website yet. You can see AP. They don't want AP biochemistry or biology. Apparently, they'll take it for English. However, they say case by case on their website. Sometimes schools will say, hey, we'll take your AP if you've done more coursework in that subject that's at a higher level. So for example, you took AP 1201, But then you went on and took cell biology and immunology, got a grade of A, B in the class. They'll say that we'll take that in place of that. But just remember, if you have the chance to take for the grade, it is going to reflect a little better. But we do send plenty of students into medical school with AP credit, if the school accepts it. But this is nice because you can use the MSAR to see, okay, look, physics is required, organic chemistry, inorganic is, stats, and it lets you in one website be able to jump around to a bunch of schools and see, okay, here's Shreveport, look at, what they're requiring, biochemistry, chemistry, English. So comparing this, you compare that to the website, and then you can see some recommendations. But this is a nice thing for med students. Just remember, this is only for allopathic, so MD schools, but definitely a helpful resource. So that's on the medical side. For dental, we're going to be encouraging you guys to, there's actually this guide here. Now you can see it says this is as current as January 2018. So this is what I could find on Google. Maybe they have a newer one out there. But if you've been in my office, you've heard me say, read this document carefully, because they highlight in green what is recommended, and then they don't highlight what's required. So maybe they're trying to test you, but that's what happens. So white box required. This gives you every dental school, at least in 2018, of what they required outside of the norm, right? So they're, they didn't put biology, chemistry on here because, most of them require that. But, some dental schools require anatomy. This is how you can look, and you're saying, hey, okay, I'm applying to these 7 schools. Do I need to take anatomy? Well, you come to here and you can see, okay, Arizona requires anatomy, Howard, Indiana, Midwestern, in Chicago and Arizona. So we definitely send students there. Be aware of that. Oregon, Ohio State. Those are the ones that require anatomy. So if you want to go to those medical schools, you need to take that class, And the other ones, in the green are just recommended. And so this is a nice guide. Some of them give some additional information on the side. And so you can see here, Arizona saying, anatomy and phys requirements must be fulfilled by completing an anatomy and physiology course. They want separate courses. So just, once again, do your homework, reach out, but this is just a kind of quick guide to help you get started. So my last resource I wanted to share before we just go into kind of some special topics is just going to be the AMCAS course classification guide. So some of you guys are saying, hey, okay, well, I do know my prereqs, but we get questions about like what counts for science GPA. And one thing you'll hear Mr. Bowen and I say, it's not the first 4 letters that count. So if it says BIOL or KIN or CHEM, that's not what they're looking at to see if it's a science course. They're looking at the course by title. So, okay, if it says BIOL, but it's our 2900 career seminar course, that's not going to count toward your science GPA. That's a career seminar. It's as you use this guide, you're not going to see that list on here. And even though, you thought it was biology, it's not a real biology course. It's a great course, but that's where we're at. But if you're taking, KIN 2500, well, that's anatomy. And they're going to see you took anatomy, and you can see anatomy is under here. Things are classified different in different schools, but anatomy is going to be one that goes towards the science GPA. So this is just a nice guide from AMC showing you how to classify your courses. Once again, you can always call AMC to ask clarifying. If you can't find your exact course on there, see how they would interpret it. But this gives you an idea of some of the classes, thermo under chemistry, astronomy under physics, what they count for that. So just keep in mind your science GPA is important. And, with the AP thing, if you take some AP classes as your grade, as your prereq and you'll get a grade for it, your science GPA is going to be off very few science hours, maybe. So just be aware of that. So that's our crash course. Like I said, we do have about 5 minutes left for Mr. Bowen and I to talk about a few things, but that's just a crash course to prereqs for optometry, dental, medical, and then we're happy to help you along the way. But Robbie, you have any other thoughts that come to mind when you have students in your office that are just asking about prereqs or preparing, maybe some questions they have?
I think the most common question that we get all the time is about the AP. I have AP credit in my freshman biology sequence, the 1201 and 1202. Should I repeat the course? Should I go on or whatever? And, just like that statement that we saw there, it said on an individual basis. And I think that's relevant to the decision that you're going to make. First of all, how prepared do you feel to jump straight into genetics and microbiology, which are both challenging courses? That would be your next biology in the sequence. And so, how prepared do you feel from that AP high school AP course to jump straight into the sophomore level science courses? And so, that's a factor. The other thing is, as it comes into play is, what is your major? If you're a biology major, you're going to take another 40 hours worth of biological sciences coursework. They're not going to probably focus in on the P's that you got, the pass grade that you got in the 1201 and 1202. However, if you're an English major and you want to go to med school and you're just taking the basic required biology, required chemistry, you're not going on to additional coursework, then that's not giving them a lot of information. You are telling them that you passed the course, but what does that mean? Would that have been a C if you had actually been in the classroom, or would it have been a B? Or they don't know. They just know that you scored high enough on the test to get the credit. But if someone took it in the classroom and they have an A on their report card or their transcript, they know what that means. They know that that student excelled in that course. And if I'm deciding between, I've got 3 seats left and I'm looking at, 5 students to decide which 3 I'm going to go with, I'm going to give favor to that A on the transcript as opposed to that passing grade, because I don't know how to interpret that passing grade. So, it's things like that that come into play. I don't think the ultimate decision that you make to take it over or to take the AP grade, unless it's a school that just flat out says we don't take them, it's not going to necessarily be what gets you in or keeps you out of medical school. But those are the types of things that you need to think about when you're trying to decide what to do. How prepared am I based on, the AP course that I took, a year and a half ago to go straight into genetics or whatever.
Right. And, I mean, they also have the standardized tests. And so, the DAT, the OAT, the MCAT, like, you need to be taking your classes that you need for those, like you want to usually have biochemistry and physics before the MCAT. You want to have, your biologies, your chemistries done before the DAT. So I'll just be aware of that. And so like a lot of med schools don't have an expiration date for your prereqs, but they know physics because there's an expiration date for your MCAT, and so you had to have the MCAT score within 3 years. So they knew that you had to relearn it. And so just be aware of that. Some students, another question I get, like some students say, oh, well, I got a C in chemistry. Should I go back and retake it? Well, number one, no, if they take your C, you're good. And number two, we won't let you retake a class you've already passed. And number three, they'd rather you see new materials. So typically, okay, you got the C in chemistry. Well, don't go back and take a class you've already taken. That doesn't impress them. Take a new chemistry class at a higher level. That's showing them, hey, I saw brand new material. I did well. It actually look a lot better than taking a class twice. So of course, if you get the D, take the F, you can retake it. We do want to say though, grade exclusions don't count for medical and dental school though. So you want to do the best you can. And while we're on here, students say, well, what's better, a drop or a C? That kind of depends, but remember they're going to want to see you pass a class. If you can pass it, get a C, it's great. Might bring down your GPA. So, you got to think about that, whether you drop or not. But if you get the A or B, take it. You get the D or F, maybe you dropped it. But, the big thing is just, doing the best you can and making the best decisions you can. But the last thing I just want to touch on is, some of you guys finish your prereqs and you're not happy with your GPA. So that's where we do have students go on and do a post-bac master's program, something like that. And so I just want to say, you don't need to necessarily go back and redo your courses. If you're doing a post-bac, you could, maybe just do some other science courses. But, the schools like LSU New Orleans, you can see on their website, they have that 30-hour policy. If you do 30 hours of science coursework, that's going to count as your new GPA for them, So, but they see everything. They see everything you take. And so that's about what we got for today, unless Robbie want to say something else. But
I just want to talk a little bit about those courses that we talked about that where they said recommended or suggested courses. That's giving you a hint of what they consider to be important and courses that they place a lot of relevance on. So if I have an opportunity, I need to take another biology course to meet my degree requirements, and I've met the requirements, but I still need another biology course. That's where those courses are. You want to pay attention to that. Like, yes, I can enroll in a conservation biology course, but if I want to go to medical or dental school, my time and my efforts could be much better spent if I'm picking one of those courses that they specifically addressed on their website that they consider to be, relevant. Um, it's not that there's anything wrong with, a conservation biology course, but they specifically said we like immunology, we like these courses, and so you're gonna get more bang for the buck by taking a course like that and letting them see those things. Those courses are typically also what you're going to see when you get to medical or dental school. That's their curriculum. And so having that at the undergraduate level, although, the level of complexity you're going to see in medical or dental school is nowhere near, the undergrad, what you're going to need at the undergraduate level to prepare you, but at least you're getting an introduction to it. You're learning the terminology, you're hearing phrases that you'll see again. So just keep those things in mind. Not every 3.5 GPA is the same. And, when they're looking that you have a 3.5 and someone else has a 3.5, but, how did they get there? How'd you get there? Like someone took immunology and histology and all of that. Other people took, what would be considered less challenging courses. That nod's going to those people who, challenge themselves and, fulfill those requirements. So, what they provide on their website gives you insight into what's important to them, what they look for, what are they valuing in a student, and you want to be as closely aligned with what they've suggested and recommended as possible.
Absolutely. So my last thing I'll mention, if you just pay attention to prereqs, you can go to the general catalog, click the course search, go to the class. And like if you wanted to take histology, for example, just know you need to do cell biology first, and you need to do, genetics and chem before that. Just an example. If you want to do biochemistry, you need to do 4 chemistry classes first. So, go look at them, make sure, make your, 4-year plan, and then come to our office if you need help. So thanks for joining us today, and hope this was helpful for you.